So as you're sitting here today, I just found out about the Fit for TV, the reality of The Biggest Loser.
Yeah.
All right. So I got, because like that's how a lot of people were introduced to you, was
absolutely
what you did on that show, which is incredible, right? So remind everybody real quick where you went in and where you left on The Biggest Loser.
Yeah, so that year I was over 500 pounds, and I went to the hospital and found out I had a bad infection in my leg, was in danger of losing my leg. Found out I was diabetic, my liver was messing up, my kidneys were messing up, all these things. Now I thought I was invincible because I was Bigg Vinny and I was on the road with Toby Keith. I was living my dream, had a hot girl, like all these things. I was like, I was the man, But diabetes don't care. Diabetes don't care how cool you are, how much money you got. Like cancer don't care. None of these things care. You look, even Steve Jobs. You look at some of the big. If there's no cure, there's no cure. Well, there was a cure for mine. It was called quit being a lazy a-hole and stop eating bad sugar. I actually wasn't lazy, but I wasn't getting in the things I needed to do to take care of my body. Anyways, ended up in the hospital. Had to lose. I lost about 74, 75 pounds, 76 pounds, something like that, before I even got on the show. And I was 426 when I started the show, and I lost all the way down to 242.
Wow.
Yeah, completely saved my life. I was on my way out. I wasn't going to make it. I wasn't going to make it to 40 or to 30 years old, let alone now I'm 42. So that's been 14 years ago. Completely saved my life, changed my life, gave me an opportunity. So when this documentary was coming out, I was like, okay, this would be cool. It's something kind of about the show. And then I already saw that it was going to be a hit piece.
Did they? I've only seen that first episode. I haven't seen the rest. Are you in the documentary?
I'm not in it at all. Okay. I think they interviewed 7 total people out of 380 contestants. And most of the ones that they interviewed had either a negative experience or are in a negative part of life now.
Yeah.
Now, Danny, the guy that was on there, is a good friend of mine. He's honest. He just says, hey, I did everything I had to do to lose all the weight so I could win. He was the biggest loser of all time. Lost 52% of his body weight while on the show. Affected his metabolism really bad, but he talked about it. He was like, I did a master cleanse. I did, starved myself eating 800 calories a day. I did all these things. Well, when you go on the show, they give you a number. This is your number you need to eat minimum every day. Mine was 2,400 calories. And that was with a 45% carb, 35% fat, and 20% 45% carb, 35% protein, and 20% carbs. That's the way my diet was broken up, and you're given to you on an individual basis. So I had to follow exactly what they said, because Dole Vet, who was my trainer on there, said, hey, you need to eat those calories every day. I'm going to check your books. He came in and checked our books every night, made sure that we ate those calories.
That's good.
Well, on the flip side, I think Jillian and Bob, who, I don't know Jillian, but Bob was a great guy. But he based it off of, hey, you can eat 800 calories a day. You're going to get through. You're going to, survive. Protein was kind of what he said to stick to, lean and mean kind of deal. But pushing people on 800 calories a day is not good. You know what I mean? It's you might lose weight, but you're going to lose fat. You're going to lose muscle. You're going to lose all kinds of things that maybe you don't need to lose.
Maybe some integrity.
Yeah, probably some integrity. Well, I think a lot of these guys, when they decide to do it, they're just listening to a guy or a girl that they think knows everything. Whereas for me, I was being told, hey, you need to eat all this food because you need to keep your muscle mass. Well, I gained, and which I know there'll be a lot of experts out there that say you can't gain muscle while in a caloric deficit. I gained 11 pounds of new lean muscle mass while I was on that show, and losing 184 pounds, I think, on the show, and 258 pounds throughout that entire year. And, allegedly, if you listen to the experts, you can't gain muscle while in a deficit. Well, I gained 11 pounds of new muscle, and 27 pounds of total muscle mass was added to my body, even in that weight loss time. So if you really added mine up, even though, so I gained 27 pounds of muscle, lost 186 pounds. So I would have been, or 184 pounds. So I'd have been 200 and something pounds really of actual fat loss, I guess you'd say. So it changed my life, saved my life. And so when I watched it, I kind of watched it. I wanted to be open-minded, but I knew it was going to be a hit piece. Of course, at the end, you're not there yet, but they push the Ozempic, which is...
Do they really?
Oh, yeah. They push it. Yeah, they push it at the end with the 2 ones that are just super jaded. The rest of them are just telling their experience. They had a bad experience, or it didn't turn out the way they thought it would. They're not necessarily hitting on the show. But there's 2 of them on there that are they just want to hit it with everything they can. Both of them are on Ozempic now, and they're telling their story. Well, Ozempic has changed everything for me. I'm like, you still haven't addressed the problems. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it's working for you right now. In 3 years, 5 years, I bet we see them on the next documentary talking about Ozempic ruined my life. I'm not saying all GLP-1s are bad and all that kind of stuff. I think there's ways to use certain things, but if you're just using it for weight loss, and that's your thing, especially guys that got 20 or 30 pounds to lose. Like, I think if you haven't tried changing your diet and exercising properly, maybe don't go to the GLP-1 just yet,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I look at it and I think everybody's journey is their own, and I don't take any of their stuff for granted. Whatever their feelings are, their feelings, but that don't always mean that it's fact. Just because you feel a certain way doesn't mean it's a fact.
That's right.
And they felt like the show didn't take care of us. I had doctors on me every single day. I got rhabdomyolysis while I was on the show, and they literally stopped me, shut me down. I wasn't allowed to work out, wasn't allowed to do anything. So when I lost 5 pounds, they don't tell that on the show, but I lost 5 pounds the second week, and a lot of the other guys lost 10, 12, 15, whatever. Well, I wasn't allowed to work out because I developed rhabdomyolysis, which is basically where your internal organs will start to shut down because your body is overloaded, I guess.
Right.
And that's a simplification. There's probably experts that know way more about it than I do. But all I knew is they come to me and said, hey, you got to stop working out right now. You can do nothing but eat healthy and sit. And I was allowed to walk a little bit every day, but I couldn't do like any kind of intense anything.
Got it.
But like I said, when I saw it, I got disappointed, and I went on there just to say, look, their journey's not my journey. I had a great journey on there. I enjoyed it. I lost, all that weight, changed my life, saved my life. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be sitting in this chair today. I wouldn't have the wife and the kids I have and the life experience I have. I wouldn't be out there helping raise money for charities and doing all the other things. I fully believe that show gave me such a great second chance at life. Now, people say, have you kept all the weight off? Well, of course I hadn't kept it all off. The last probably 20 pounds was a sweat out that I did the night before the show. I was really probably about 260 or so pounds, 265 maybe before the sweat out, And that was the only time I ever actually played the show was when every other time I was just going in there saying, hey, I just want to lose the weight and learn how to be better. But that last little bit, I'm like, you know what, maybe I will do a little sauna suit and a sweat out the night before. I ended up having to drink Gatorade before I went on the last thing. So that was the only time I ever tried it. And I still had to drink Gatorade. Now, was it as 20 pounds? No, it was about 4 pounds, 5 pounds added on of Gatorade before they'd let me actually win. Because you do have to be hydrated to Olympic levels, not just regular levels, Olympic levels. In order to get on that scale, you have to be hydrated to Olympic levels.
Man, there's in a show like that, there's so much that the average person probably wouldn't consider just because of all the health risks that are on there. I mean, I bet the paperwork you had to sign was
it's through the roof, And they said they signed the contracts, and they said they didn't want to combat the contracts. Well, I actually did go after some of the contracts because some of the stuff said like basically if I created a song while I was on there, they would own it, all this other stuff. So I got all that language taken out. But as far as everything else, it was just basically saying you have to understand that they can put on camera whatever they want to put on camera. They can only put on there what you give them. But, you might be portrayed as the villain. John was the villain on our season. Theoretically, John and Rumple.
I got to go back and watch your season again.
But John was a great guy. I mean, he really was. He just wanted to win. He was trying to adopt a daughter. He was trying to make the money to do that. He was dead set. There was nobody going to beat John. The only time that we would have had a chance, the dude, I'm telling you, had like a 140, 150 IQ. He would calculate and tell everybody he'd know exactly how much everybody's going to lose every week within a pound.
Wow.
It was incredible to watch him work. And there was one time that we could have possibly got him. And he was my roommate, and me and him got along great. There's one time we could have got him, and I had a 3-pound weight advantage. And I knew I was going to still crush it that week. At that point, I was losing 10 pounds a week every week, and I had figured it out exactly what I needed to do, exactly what I needed to eat. I knew I was.
Isn't that awesome when you finally figured that out?
I finally figured it out, and I knew exactly what I had to do. I got up every morning at 5 o'clock. I drank a whole thing of water, used the bathroom, went outside and walked 3 miles, come back in, ate breakfast, and I'd have egg whites, raspberries, and maybe some oatmeal. Then I would go back out and do 3 more miles. Then I'd come in, we'd do our workout. Then I'd walk 3 more miles. I mean, I was just walking all day.
Yeah.
But once I figured that out, now that's how I lost 10 pounds a week. I don't suggest that. That's not a right goal. 1 or 2 pounds a week is a great goal for somebody. But either way, we could have got him that 1 week. Now, he ends up getting an advantage because he won an award. He got to give a 1 or 2 pound disadvantage to somebody. And so I had a 3-pound advantage. I think his was a 1 pound disadvantage. Mine was a 3-pound advantage. So I went to him. I said, "Hey," because he didn't want to be the bad guy. He already knew, like, man, they're going to cast me as the bad guy. All this other stuff. And he was a teacher and a football coach, and I'm really seriously a great dude. And but he did play the game. He wanted to win, But he came to me. He said, "What do you think I should do, Vinny?" And I said, "Well," I said, "if you don't want to be the bad guy, you just give me the 1 pound disadvantage." I said, "Then I still have a 2 pound advantage, and if I don't lose enough to stay, that's on me." I said, if I didn't have any advantage, I should lose enough to stay. And he was like, yeah, he goes, that'd be the nice thing to do. He goes, let me just think about it and pray about it. He come to me. I promise you, he came to me before. He goes, I can't give it to you. If I give it to you, I'm going home. I'm like, what do you mean you're going home? There's only one person I can give it to. I can't remember if he gave it to Sonny or gave it to Ramon, or maybe he gave it to Sonny. Either way, he gave the disadvantage to one person. He goes, that's the only person I can give it to, and me be safe and be above the red line. And I was like, well, I said, I don't know. I mean, and of course I didn't know. At that point in time, I'm like, yeah, he's crazy. There's probably 3 or 4 people he could give it to. Nope. That was the only person. And it was within 1/100th of a pound.
Wow.
And if he hadn't given it to her, I think he gave it to Sonny. If he hadn't given it to her, then he would have been below the red line, and he would have got voted out.
Dude, it's, after school, I got certified for a lot of things for nutrition and fitness.
Yeah.
I worked with folks when I was playing pro ball. I was in unbelievable shape. I mean, unbelievable shape.
You still look good, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You
you used to be 240 pounds.
I did. Nasty dog.
Yeah.
I questioned.
Oh, flappy hitter.
Dude, I questioned my wife's judgment.
Yeah, me too. I still question it, but I question my wife's judgment too, though.
Well, it's all I can say is like, for me, it's such a journey to figure out actually how your body, what drives your body, what hurts your body, what slows things down, and then you factor age into it. Age,
injuries, unexpected things. I mean, car wreck. You never know. You step off the curb wrong and twist your ankle. For me, it was one of the biggest things happened to me in 2019. I tore out my peroneal tendon in my left ankle. Yeah. I haven't been able to run ever since, and I had 2 surgeries, and I had to fuse the joint, all this kind of stuff. And I used to run 2 and 3 miles every day. It was just part of my routine. I didn't really do it necessarily for the cardio as much as I did for my mind, because it would take me, to run a 5K, I was running in about 30 to 35 minutes on average. So, you go there to do 3 miles in 30 minutes, you're going to be fine. But now if you're running for hours on end, you're going to start burning muscle. So
Rhiannon and I started walking every day back in like 2019, 2020. And it's like literally to this day. So it's so cool in the neighborhood that we live in. If you leave our driveway and you just walk the outside of the sidewalk from start to finish right back to the driveway, it's exactly 2 miles.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's perfect.
And that's usually a good phone call.
Yeah.
So like both of us.
I do so many phone calls while I'm walking.
That's it. Like I love it. I actually time my phone calls where I'm not going to have to be on a Zoom or anything, where I can that's going to be when we go out walking. We still do it every single day, 2 or 3 times a day usually. Yeah. So 3 to 6 miles a day is like just normal for us to walk.
Yeah. That's why when they started saying, if you can get 10,000 steps in a day, I started, where I'm going my phone, just my phone will be like, oh, I got 15,000, and that thing was sitting on the charger for half the day.
That's right. That's right.
So I realized it was just normal for me to get 10,000. But a lot of people have desk jobs, are not out doing stuff, things like that. So they do have to go and walk afterwards to hit those steps.
Even when Rhiannon and I are going to have a conversation about upcoming vacations, or we're dreaming, or anything really, like even just talking about new budgets on the personal front. Yeah, we hit it on we talk about it on the pavement.
I love it.
Hit on the pavement. Like we just love, and folks, again, you just got to move, man. You got to move. Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe for more, and visit nickhyder.com.